The Nightly Business Report.
Good evening. Tonight, Cabinet grants the green light to Gazette Economic Transformation Bill. President Wickremesinghe presents the proposal in his capacity as the Finance Minister. Sri Lanka to allow renewable power wheeling and use Ceylon Electricity Board transmission network to carry it to different parts of the country. The Colombo Stock Exchange plunges to record lows for second consecutive day of the week. And ChatGPT steps up its game with the unveiling of OpenAI's latest model.
From Studio 24, here's Sina Mayadune.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. The Department of Government Information reported that the Cabinet approval has been received to gazette the Economic Transformation Bill and to present it to the Parliament for approval. The proposal was submitted to the Cabinet by President Ranil Wickremesinghe in his capacity as the Finance Minister.
The proposal has received clearance from the Attorney General in the Government Gazette notification and has subsequently forwarded the draft bill to Parliament for its concurrence. Over the past 16 months, the Parliament has enacted 42 new laws to facilitate the country's economic transformation. An additional 62 laws will have to be passed through Parliament. In this context, the government will take a major stride towards enacting the Economic Transformation Bill in Parliament soon after gazetting it next week, most possibly with a view to transform and advance Sri Lanka to a modern, robust economy. The new legislation will ensure that all government policies focus on the transformation to a highly competitive, export-oriented economy. The Economic Transformation Bill includes provisions for the establishment of key entities such as the Sri Lanka Economic Commission, Investment Infrastructure Corporation, International Trade Institute, National Productivity Commission and Sri Lanka Economic and Trade Institute.
Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that Sri Lanka will allow consumers to build renewable power plants and use the Ceylon Electricity Board transmission network to carry it to a different location to be used.
Power wheeling was not allowed in Sri Lanka, and a company that built a power plant had to sell the power to the Ceylon Electricity Board at the feed-in price and buy power separately as a customer at a retail tariff. Wheeling allows customers to carry the power from a renewable plant by paying a fee to the transmission network. Minister Gunawardena said, for example, if a mini hydro plant is built in Kitulgala, the power can be carried through the grid for the use of a factory in Jaila as long as it is also owned by the same party for his own use. A committee was appointed to conduct a detailed study and the recommendation was made, he said.
Foreign Secretary Aruni Vijayawardena has met with U.S. Assistant Secretary for South and Central Asian Affairs Donald Lu and discussed avenues to further consolidate Sri Lanka-U.S. bilateral relations.
During the meeting held yesterday at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Secretary Vijayawardena apprised Assistant Secretary Lu of the recent developments in the economic front, as well as the export-oriented open market growth enhancement strategies and initiatives taken by Sri Lanka. Issuing a statement in this regard, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that she elaborated on the measures taken by the government to improve governance, rule of law, financial oversight, as well as to combat corruption and foster reconciliation. Assistant Secretary Lu applauded the tremendous effort put in by the people and the government of Sri Lanka in the IMF process and positive results obtained, the statement said. He also commended the passing of anti-corruption legislation and assured the continuous support in its implementation and broader macroeconomic reforms. Assistant Secretary encouraged Sri Lanka to proceed in an inclusive manner on all fronts.
Data from the State Debt Office showed that Sri Lanka has sold 70 billion rupees in 2028, 2030 and 2032 bonds. The Debt Office sold and offered 15 billion rupees on 1st of May 2028 at an average yield of 9%. All offered 25 billion rupees of 15th October 2030 bonds were sold at 11%. All 30 billion rupees offered on 1st of October 2032 bonds were sold at 9%. Sri Lanka's Ceylon Tobacco Company said its March quarter cigarette sales were down from a year earlier, leading to an absolute revenue fall as well amid tax hikes and an economic slowdown. The revenue in the March 2024 quarter fell to 45.85 billion rupees, down from 46.93 billion rupees last year. Moreover, the turnover-linked taxes fell to 31.7 billion rupees from 34.2 billion rupees. Ceylon Tobacco Company told shareholders in the interim accounts that the main reasoning is tax-led price increases in line with the government's revenue proposals. Tax revenues were almost the same as the September 2023 quarter, but sharply down from the December 2023 quarter, where there were a pickup in sales. A short commercial break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Now, regardless of the volatility of the stock market, the Colombo Stock Exchange's negative consistency remains for the second day of the week. Both the all-share price index and the S&P SL20 index recorded lows at the end of today's trading. For the breakdown, let's go to Melissa Ranatunga from Capital Alliance Securities.
Today, the Colombo Stock Exchange saw a decline compared to yesterday, ending at 12,359 points, making a 140-point decrease from the previous session, with a turnover of 3.3 billion rupees. The S&P 20 index also experienced a slight downward movement of 52 points to end the day at 3,671 points. Institutional engagement was observed across various sectors, with contribution from Sunshine Holdings, John Keys Holdings, Sampath Bank, Hatton National Bank and Chevron Lubricants. In terms of positive contribution to the ASPI, CTC, Chevron Lubricants, Hemas Holdings, Sunshine Holdings and Malvatta Valley Plantations were the top contributors. The top 5 gainers for the day were Standard Capital, Chris World, Abans, Equity 2 PLC and Lee Hedgers. The top 5 losers for the day were SMB Leasing, UB Finance, Seagiriya Village, Abans Finance and Pegasus Hotels. Foreign purchases amounted to 41 million rupees along with foreign sales of 628 million rupees.
Gold prices firmed today as investors awaited the crucial inflation report this week, which can significantly influence the outlook on U.S. interest rates. Spot gold was up 0.4% to $2,344.92 per ounce after dropping 1% on Monday. U.S. gold futures rose 0.3% to $2,350.50. Investors are now looking forward to the U.S. Producer Price Index data that is scheduled for release tomorrow, followed by the Consumer Price Index report. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York said its latest survey of consumer expectations that respondents project inflation a year from now at 3.3% from March's 3%, while inflation 3 years from now is seen moderating to an expected 2.8% rise from the prior month's 2.9%. Oil prices saw a slight increase today, building upon the gains observed in the previous session. This was driven by 2 factors, as China, the leading oil importer, signaling its intention to implement fiscal stimulus measures, and the threat of wildfires in Canada nearing important oil hubs in the country. Additionally, the recent strengthening of the dollar exerted additional pressure on the oil market. Brent oil futures, set to expire in July, rose by 0.3% to reach $83.59 per barrel. Meanwhile, West Texas Intermediate crude futures increased by the same percentage to reach $78.85 per barrel. Both contracts had recorded gains of over 1% each on the previous day. Today, the Sri Lankan rupee has further declined in value compared to the US dollar, as reported by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. As a result, the buying rate of the US dollar has risen from 294 rupees and 15 cents to 295 rupees and 67 cents, and the selling rate has increased from 303 rupees and 78 cents to 305 rupees and 23 cents. Additionally, the rupee has also depreciated against a range of foreign currencies, including those from the Gulf region. Here's how it performed. Moving on to a short commercial break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. SLT Mobitel, the national ICT solutions provider, has announced a strategic partnership with Connex 360 to facilitate complete smart building solutions, including telecom infrastructure for condominium developers and luxury residencies.
Through the collaboration, SLT Mobitel and Connex 360 will leverage their respective strengths to provide cutting-edge digital solutions tailored to the unique needs of multi-tenant communities. The solutions will comprise a wide range of services, including high-speed internet connectivity, smart home automation, entertainment platforms, and advanced security systems. Through the agreement, the company will offer services including access control solutions, visitor management systems, public addresses, smart home audio systems, outdoor sound systems, voice alarm systems, network switches, wireless access points, and etc. to condominium developers as a part of its complete smart building solution. Connex 360 will provide and maintain these services. SLT Mobitel will also provide cutting-edge fiber infrastructure connectivity and other telecom infrastructure, ensuring users experience comfortable living while blending modern convenience.
The fast-track summer internship introduced by the John Keells Group makes its return this year in collaboration with Cisco Labs Sri Lanka and Brandix Lanka Private Limited, offering undergraduates a distinctive 4-week summer internship experience.
Launched in 2011, Fast Track distinguishes itself by providing participants with an unmatched opportunity to explore the diverse corporate landscape of Sri Lanka. This approach aims to challenge conventions and attract innovative minds among Sri Lankan undergraduates, both locally and overseas, who might otherwise seek opportunities abroad. The interns will receive exclusive exposure to the industry, sectors of leisure, real estate, consumer foods, retail information technology, garments and textiles, and transportation, which will allow participants to learn and understand the operations of each sector firsthand. The Fast Track Summer Internship this year with John Keells, joining hands with Cisco Labs and Brandix Lanka, seeks not just to retain youthful talent locally, but also inspire them to harness their distinct strengths and abilities for the betterment of Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka's private sector bank H&B plc has entered into a fresh agreement with 3DH Building Solutions to promote and offer financing solutions for FMT generators and glary elevators. Customers can take advantage of a host of benefits offered through this partnership, with attractive interest rates on leasing facilities on selected generators and elevators. 3DH offers a wide range of power solutions, including diesel and gas generators, synchronized power plants, voltage stabilizers, UPS inverters, and transformers. Furthermore, glary elevators, customizable high-end passenger elevators originating from Germany and manufactured in China, provide additional options for customers seeking reliable and innovative vertical transportation solutions. In a landmark move aimed at propelling Sri Lanka's export sector to new heights, the Sri Lanka Export Development Board and People's Bank have entered into a strategic partnership.
The collaborative effort was cemented through the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding in Colombo. This partnership endeavours to invigorate the country's export landscape by identifying and supporting existing exporters, fostering potential market entrants, and catalyzing economic growth through amplified foreign exchange earnings and enhanced employments. Under this partnership, People's Bank will offer financial advisory services, funding facilities, and trade finance options to enhance the export capabilities of existing exporters, nurture potential new entrants, and elevate indirect exporters to direct export status. This strategic alliance aims to bolster the development of small and medium-scale enterprises and integrate them into the global export market, aligning with the government of Sri Lanka's broad economic objectives. Sri Lanka Export Development Board will contribute to its expertise by identifying global market opportunities and facilitating the necessary prerequisites to promote exports from Sri Lanka.
Moving on to a commercial break, this is an Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Asian shares were mixed in muted trading today after US stock indices were little changed ahead of the release of inflation data. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 lost early gains and was trading less than 0.1% higher at 38,194.38. Australia's S&P ASX 200 slipped 0.2% to 7,731.40. South Korea's Kospi was little changed, inching up less than 0.1% to 2,726.76, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng was up less than 0.1% at 19,115.78. Shanghai Composite lost nearly 0.3% to 3,139.89. Investors were watching for indicators on inflation to gauge the direction of economic growth, as well as the strength of the dollar. US stocks closed with a mixed performance as investors paused following 3 weeks of gains and awaited key inflation data expected later this week. Investors are carefully anticipating the release of April's consumer price index figures tomorrow.
Stocks finished mixed Monday as investors took a breather after 3 weekly gains and ahead of key inflation readings later this week. The Dow fell 0.2%, the S&P 500 was flat, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq inched up 0.3. Investors are cautiously awaiting April's consumer price index data due out on Wednesday. They will also be monitoring retail sales and earnings reports from Home Depot and Walmart. Fed Vice Chair Philip Jefferson said Monday he supports keeping interest rates steady until it is clear that price pressures are moderating. Investors see the U.S. Central Bank cutting rates at its September meeting, according to the CME FedWatch tool. Stocks on the move Monday included Apple, which climbed about 2%, after a report said it had closed in on an agreement with ChatGPT maker OpenAI to use the startup's technology on the iPhone. And GameStop surged 74% after Roaring Kitty, a former marketer at an insurance firm credited with sparking the 2021 meme stock rally, returned to X.com after a 3-year hiatus.
France won a record 15 billion euros in foreign investment pledges, allowing President Emmanuel Macron to bask in the limelight with global CEOs and forget about strained public finances and weak polls for a while.
Big tech will invest big in France. That's what giants like Microsoft and Amazon said on Monday. The country won a record $16.17 billion in foreign investment pledges in sectors ranging from AI to pharmaceuticals and energy. French President Emmanuel Macron hosted business leaders for the annual Choose France summit. Microsoft President Brad Smith was one of those in town.
It is my honor, on behalf of all of our friends and colleagues here and literally around the world, to announce today Microsoft's largest investment in France in our 41-year history. It is truly an important day.
The US tech giant said it would invest $4.31 billion in France. Smith said the investment reflected the country's commitment to a low-carbon energy program and Macron's business reforms.
We want to be at the heart of the fight of decarbonisation and artificial intelligence, but we want to do it with people we know, who trust us, and in whom we trust.
Amazon said it would invest more than $1.3 billion in its French operations and create more than 3,000 permanent jobs in the country. Drug companies, including Pfizer and AstraZeneca, also announced investments together worth over $1 billion.
Nous choisissons la France.
The French presidency said the overall investments included 56 different business projects and could lead to the creation of 10,000 jobs.
Apple is gearing up to sell its Vision Pro mixed reality headset outside the United States in a bid to invigorate demand for its most expensive bet in years.
Apple is getting ready to launch its Vision Pro mixed reality headset in markets outside the US. It says the tech giant has flown hundreds of staff from its overseas stores to California for training. The workers involved come from Germany, France, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Singapore and China, hinting that these may be the first international markets for the device. Bloomberg says the overseas launch could now come after the firm's Worldwide Developers Conference in June. That could be timely for Apple, which is looking for a sales boost amid waning demand for its iPhones. But at $3,499, many question whether the Vision Pro can ever be a mass-market device. It was unveiled in June last year and hit US store shelves in February. The headset allows users to blend reality with immersive video. After an initial surge of sales, analysts say demand for the gadget has since tapered off. There was no comment on the latest reports from Apple. Back in March, Chinese media quoted Chief Executive Tim Cook as saying the Vision Pro could go on sale there this year.
OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT, announced the release of its new AI model yesterday. The new launch claims to be capable of reasoning across audio, visual, and text-based information in real time.
ChatGPT creator OpenAI announced the release of its new AI model called GPT-4o on Monday. GPT-4o, with the O standing for Omni, claims that it is able to reason across audio, visual and text-based information in real time. It accepts any combination of text, audio and images as input and can generate a similar combination of output. With an average audio input response time of 320 milliseconds, OpenAI says that it is similar to a human's response time in a conversation. The updated AI model was unveiled at a live stream event on Monday, where it guided watchers through a math equation, provided real-time language translations, and analyzed data on a graph. OpenAI CTO Mira Murati said that GPT-4o is a huge step forward when it comes to an ease of use.
Well, that's it from all of us at the Nile Business Report. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time with the latest news across the business world. I'm Sina Maya Dunne. Have a good night.